Hello. For about 3 weeks straight, things in my house felt completely off. My wife, let us call her Rachel, was giving me the cold shoulder like it was her full-time job. Every night, I would sit down next to her, try to start something affectionate, and she would act like I was nothing more than a roommate who helped cover utilities. It began small. She would turn her head away when I tried to kiss her. She would roll to the far edge of the bed when I reached out to touch her. And her favorite line, delivered with the excitement of a tax form, became, "I am tired." But the thing that really ate at me was not the lack of intimacy. It was the emotional wall she built. I tried everything I could think of, brought her coffee the way she liked it, made reservations at her favorite Italian restaurant, even suggested a weekend getaway. Every effort got the same flat reply. "That is nice," or "maybe later," or the one that made me feel like a child asking for recess time. "We will see." Worst part? She never even looked up from her phone when she dismissed me. She just kept scrolling, like I was some annoying notification she could swipe away. I started wondering what I had done wrong. Maybe I said something that hurt her without realizing it. But every time I asked if something was bothering her, she brushed me off with, "Nothing is wrong. I am just not in the mood." For 21 days straight. Last Tuesday, I decided I was done guessing. We were sitting on the couch. She was zoned out on her phone while some Netflix show played in the background, and I finally reached a breaking point. I turned the television off, turned toward her, and said, "We need to talk about what has been happening between us." She did not even lift her eyes at first. "What do you mean?" "You know what I mean," I said. "We have not been intimate in weeks. You barely react when I try to be affectionate. We are living like strangers." She finally looked up, but the way she stared at me made it seem like I was making a big deal over nothing. "People go through phases. It is normal," she said. 3 weeks is not a phase," I told her. "It is a pattern." She let out this dramatic sigh, set her phone down like I was interrupting something important, and said, "Fine. What do you want me to say? Should I force myself to be in the mood just because you want attention?" "I want to understand why my own wife acts like I am invisible," I said. That is when her whole expression shifted. Something sharp and cold flickered across her face, and she stood up. "You want the truth?" she snapped. "You are always so needy. Always wanting something from me. My ex never made me feel this unappreciated." Those words hit me like getting blindsided. My ex never made me feel this unappreciated. She stood there with her arms crossed, looking proud of herself for saying it. The woman I married, the woman I built a life with, had just told me flat out that the guy who came before me treated her better than I did. "So that is what this is about?" I asked quietly. "Him." She rolled her eyes. "I am not comparing anyone. I am just saying some men know how to make a woman feel valued without constantly asking for attention." Demanding. That was the word she used to describe wanting normal affection from my own wife. Something inside me shifted at that moment. Not anger, not heartbreak, but clarity. The kind you get when someone finally shows you exactly where you rank in their life. "I see," I said. "Oh, do not start being dramatic," she told me. "You are blowing this out of proportion." But she was wrong. I finally understood what had really been happening. For 3 weeks, I thought I had done something wrong. But the truth was simpler and uglier. I existed in the same house as her memories of someone else. And I was not winning that comparison. I walked upstairs without another word. "Behind me," she called. "Where are you going? We are not done talking about this." But she was wrong again. We were done. We had been done the minute she decided our marriage mattered less than the nostalgia she carried for a man who was not even in her life anymore. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall, her words repeating over and over. My ex never made me feel this unappreciated. She had not just rejected me. She had measured me against a ghost, and I had lost. Later that night, she came to bed like nothing happened. She brushed her teeth, put on her lotion, crawled under the covers, and immediately picked up her phone again. Business as usual. But something inside me had changed. I was not angry. I was not hurt. I was simply done. Done begging for her attention. Done trying to compete with a memory. Done pretending everything was fine. Lying there in the dark, listening to her scroll through social media, I made a decision. I was finished pleading for my own wife to care. I decided I was done trying to convince Rachel of my value. I was done begging for what should come naturally in a marriage. If she thought I was too needy, then fine. I would show her just how quiet and undemanding life could be without my attention. The next morning, I woke up with a strange kind of peace. Instead of overthinking romantic gestures or ways to spark a conversation, I found myself thinking about practical things. Real, concrete things. Logistics. She was already downstairs making coffee when I came into the kitchen. Normally, I would try to grab a moment with her before work, maybe sneak a kiss or ask about her day. Not this time. I poured myself a cup, grabbed a banana, and headed toward the door. "You are leaving early," she said, barely glancing at me. "Yes," I replied. That was it. No explanation. Let her sit with the silence. At work, I did something I had never done before in our marriage. I called my bank and opened a separate checking account, just my name on it. Nothing dramatic, nothing sneaky. I simply moved a portion of my paycheck into an account that belonged to me and only me. Then I made a list of everything in our home, what I bought, what we owned together, what was hers. I had been generous over the years, much more generous than I realized. When I got home that evening, she was curled up on the couch in her usual position, phone in hand, some reality show on the television that she was not watching. "How was your day?" she asked, eyes still glued to her screen. "Fine." She waited, expecting me to continue. I did not. I sat in the armchair across from her instead of sitting beside her on the couch. "What else do you want to know?" I asked calmly. She looked up, confused by my tone. "I do not know. You usually tell me what happened at work or whatever." "Do I?" I said. I had not noticed you were listening. Her eyebrows shot up. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just an observation." For the next few days, I kept that same energy. Polite, but detached. I stopped initiating deep conversations. Stopped asking about her day like I used to. Stopped suggesting we spend time together. When she made her usual passive-aggressive comments, I responded with the kind of stiff politeness you would use with a coworker you did not like, but had to tolerate. By Thursday night, she had enough. "You are acting weird," she announced during dinner. "Weird how?" I asked without looking up from my plate. "I do not know. Different." "Good," I said. "I am giving you what you said you wanted." "I never said that," she argued. "You said I was too needy," I reminded her. "So I am being less needy. That should make things better, right?" She set her fork down. "You are being passive-aggressive." "No," I said. "I am being responsive. There is a difference." "What does that even mean?" "It means," I said, sitting back, "that I am no longer going to chase someone who clearly does not want to be chased. You told me my affection feels like pressure, so I have removed the pressure." "You are acting like a child." "Actually," I replied, "I am acting like a grown man who listened to what his wife said and adjusted accordingly." She stared at me, trying to find something to say. "I did not say I did not want your attention," she finally muttered. "I just said you were being needy. And your ex-boyfriend," I added, "apparently knew how to give you attention without being needy. So I must have been doing it wrong." Her face turned red. "You are never going to let that go, are you?" "Let what go?" I asked. "The part where you compared our marriage to your last relationship and told me I came up short? Why would I let that go?" It was eye-opening. "I was frustrated," she said. "People say things when they are frustrated." "Yes," I replied, "they say the truth." That weekend, while she was out with friends, I quietly organized all my important documents: birth certificate, passport, financial papers, insurance information. I put them into a folder and stored it in my car. Then I walked through the house, taking a mental inventory of everything I brought into the marriage versus everything we acquired together. Sunday evening, she came home with a different attitude. "I have been thinking about what we talked about," she said, sitting beside me on the couch for the first time in days. "Which conversation?" I asked without muting the television. "We had a few." "The one about us," she said. "About intimacy. I think maybe we should try counseling. Together." "Counseling for what?" I asked. "For our communication issues." I almost laughed. "Our communication seems pretty clear to me. You explained how you feel, and I understood you." "You are twisting everything I said." "Am I?" I asked. "Because what I heard was that your ex-boyfriend did a better job making you feel appreciated than your husband. Did I get that part wrong?" She froze, not sure how to respond. "That is not how I meant it," she said after a moment. "How did you mean it?" I asked. "I meant," she said slowly, "that maybe you could learn from how other men handle relationships. Some men know that appreciation is not just physical attention." "Ah," I said. "So this really is still about me not measuring up. And the comparison point is another man." "Great. That is not what I am saying." "Then what are you saying?" I asked. And she had no good answer. Just excuses and hesitation. I am saying maybe we both need to try harder, Rachel said. You know what? I replied. You are absolutely right. I stood up and walked toward the stairs. Where are you going? She asked. To try harder, I said, just not in the way you are imagining. That night, I lay in bed beside her and made plans. She had no idea what was coming. She thought I was pouting, being dramatic, giving her the silent treatment until I caved. She expected me to apologize for pulling away and beg for things to go back to normal. She figured she could drop that comparison to her ex-boyfriend, toss out a vague suggestion about working on us, and everything would smooth over. She was completely wrong. On Monday morning, I took a personal day from work. Told my boss I had family matters to take care of. Honestly, that was the truth. My marriage was falling apart, and I needed to get ahead of whatever was coming. While Rachel was at work, I sat down with an attorney, not to file anything yet, but to understand what my situation looked like if things went exactly where I suspected they were going. He asked simple questions. How long have you been married? 6 years. Any children? No. What do you own jointly? Our house. Everything else of major value is mine. He nodded. Then you have a fairly straightforward case. Are you thinking about separation or divorce? I am thinking about what my life looks like without someone who does not appreciate it, I said. Fair enough, he replied. Here is what you need to understand. By the time I left the office, I had a crystal clear picture of my legal position. I also had something else, a timeline. Not a deadline for walking out the door that second, but a plan for leaving the moment the time felt right. And I had a pretty strong feeling that moment was not far away. Friday morning came like every other day, except it was not like any day before. My alarm went off at 5:30. She was still asleep. I had been waking up early all week, pretending I was trying to get back into a gym routine. In reality, I was using that quiet morning time to get everything in place. I moved through the house like I was following a rehearsal. 2 large duffel bags from the top shelf in the closet. Clothes for 2 weeks. My laptop, chargers, toiletries. The folder with all my important documents was already waiting in the car. My tools from the garage. The watch my father gave me. The signed baseball I got when I was 12. I did not pack everything. This was not about stripping the house bare. It was about taking what I needed to start a new life if that was where this ended. The hardest part was staying quiet. Every zipper and every step sounded like an explosion in that silent house. But she was a heavy sleeper, especially on weekends. After 6 years, I knew every rhythm of her mornings. Before leaving, I wrote a note and set it on the kitchen counter where she would definitely see it. You wanted to feel appreciated. Now you can find out what that actually means. Short and direct. No insults, no accusations, no drama. Just the truth. I drove to my friend Dave's place on the other side of town. He had been expecting me since Wednesday, when I finally broke down and told him everything. He had gone through a divorce 2 years earlier. He knew the emotional terrain like a local guide. How are you feeling? Dave asked as I carried my bags inside. Lighter than I have in months, I said. Good. That is exactly how you should feel. I settled into his guest room and turned off my phone. I wanted Rachel to discover my absence naturally, not because I missed a call, but because the space next to her was physically empty. I wanted her to walk downstairs, see the note, see the missing things, and understand this was not a plea for attention. This was a decision. Around noon, I turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls. 12 text messages. The timeline fascinated me. The first message, at 8:47 in the morning. Where are you? Your note does not make sense. Then 9:15. Seriously, where did you go? This is not funny. By 10:30. Answer your phone. Now. At 11:15. If you think this is going to fix anything, you are wrong. After that, the calls came one after another. I let everyone go to voicemail. By evening, I had 47 missed calls and 23 messages. The tone shift was almost textbook. Afternoon messages were angry. You cannot just leave without talking. This is childish. You know better than this. Evening messages drifted into negotiation. I know you are upset, but we can talk about this. Just come home. We can fix this. And late that night, they changed yet again. I am scared. Where are you staying? Please tell me you are safe. But through all of it, every call, every text, one thing was missing. She never apologized. Never admitted comparing me to her ex was wrong. Never acknowledged how cruel it was. Saturday morning, Dave found me checking my phone again. She is freaking out, huh? He said. She is hitting all the stages, I replied. Right now we are somewhere between anger and bargaining. You going to respond? Not yet, I said. She needs to understand this is not a negotiation. This is a consequence. Saturday afternoon, she finally tried something new. She showed up at Dave's house. I watched her from the window while she pounded on the front door. Rachel showed up at Dave's house on Saturday afternoon. I heard her the moment she reached the porch, pounding on the door like she was trying to wake the dead. Dave opened it just enough to talk through the crack. I could hear her voice all the way from the upstairs hallway. I know he is here, she snapped. I need to talk to him. He does not want to talk to you right now, Dave said calmly. He is my husband, she shot back. And you are the reason he is here instead of at home. She stayed there for nearly 20 minutes, shouting, ringing the doorbell, knocking, then calling my phone nonstop. Finally, she gave up and marched back to her car, throwing one last yell for the entire neighborhood to hear. This is ridiculous. You cannot hide forever. Sunday was quieter. Only a couple of calls. A handful of texts. Either she was calming down or trying to regroup for her next move. Either way, I appreciated the silence. Monday morning, she tried a new tactic. She went to my job. I had already warned workplace security. I figured she might try it. Around 10 o'clock, the head of security called me. Your wife showed up asking for you, he said. We told her you were not available and asked her to leave. How did that go? I asked. She caused enough of a scene that we had to escort her out, he said. Nothing wild, but she was definitely upset. I knew exactly how much that would sting her. She cared tremendously about appearances, how people saw us, how polished things looked from the outside. Being escorted out of my office building like a disruptive stranger? That would feel like a spotlight on the truth she did not want anyone else to see. That evening, the messages changed tone again. I cannot believe you had me dragged out of your workplace like I am some crazy person. Everyone is asking what is wrong with us. What am I supposed to tell them? This is affecting more than just us. Your behavior is embarrassing. My behavior. Even now, she made it about what I was doing wrong, not how we got here. Tuesday night, she tried calling from her sister's phone, probably hoping I would pick up an unfamiliar number. I let it ring. She left a voicemail. I know you are ignoring me, but this is getting ridiculous. I talked to my sister about everything, and she thinks you are overreacting. People say things they do not mean when they are frustrated. I said I was sorry. Except she had not. Not once. She had explained, defended, excused, minimized, but never apologized. Wednesday morning, her tone shifted again. I went to see a counselor yesterday. She said I need to take responsibility for my part in this. I am trying to understand what I did wrong, but I cannot fix anything if you will not talk to me. It was the first time since I walked out that she even hinted she might have done something wrong. But acknowledgement was not the same thing as understanding. And understanding was not the same thing as apology. Even if she apologized now, the damage was carved in stone. She had weighed our marriage against her past relationship and decided I came up short. That truth could not be unspoken. By Thursday, the messages were fully desperate. It has been a week. A week. You made your point. Now please come home. I cannot eat. I cannot sleep. I cannot concentrate on anything. Whatever you want me to say, I will say it. Whatever you want me to do, I will do it. But that was the whole problem. I did not want her saying things because I demanded it. I wanted her to value the marriage without being pushed into it. I wanted her to appreciate what we had without comparing it to something else, especially some old relationship she kept on a pedestal. She had already proven she could not do that. Friday morning, exactly 1 week after I left, my phone lit up with her sister's name. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. The second I answered, she launched right in. She is losing her mind, her sister said. No hello, nothing. She has not slept in 3 days. She has been calling in sick to work. She is sitting in your house crying and staring at that note you left on the counter. Good morning to you too, I said. Do not be sarcastic with me, she snapped. Do you have any idea what you have done to her? I gave her exactly what she said she wanted, I replied. Space to not deal with my neediness. That is not what she meant, and you know it. I sat down on Dave's couch, coffee in hand. Actually, I said, that is exactly what she meant. She told me I was too needy. She told me her ex-boyfriend made her feel more appreciated than I ever have. So I removed myself. Seems logical. She did not mean it like that, her sister argued. How did she mean it? I asked. Silence. Then, she was frustrated. And frustrated people say what they really think, I said. She thinks her ex-boyfriend was better than her husband at making her feel valued. Now she can appreciate that memory without me getting in the way. You are being cruel, her sister snapped. No, I said quietly. I am being honest. That is the difference. Her sister tried changing tactics. Look, she knows she messed up. She has been tearing herself apart all week. And that is where you left off. Has she really learned anything? I asked her sister. Because in every message she has sent me, not once has she apologized for what she said. She has explained it, justified it, watered it down, but she has never said, I am sorry for comparing our marriage to my past relationship. She is scared you will not forgive her, her sister said. She should be more scared that she meant every word. I replied. What does that even mean? She asked. It means you do not accidentally compare your spouse to someone else and declare them the lesser one, I said. You do not slip into that kind of insult because you are frustrated. Those are thoughts she has been holding on to for a long time. The conversation went on for another 10 minutes, her sister trying every argument she could think of. I was being too cold. Marriage requires forgiveness. Everybody makes mistakes. She had already learned her lesson. But the lesson Rachel needed was not about choosing her words more gently. She needed to learn how to appreciate what she had before she woke up one morning and found it gone. And she was learning that lesson the hard way. After the call ended, I realized something inside me had shifted over the past week. The anger was gone. The betrayal did not feel sharp anymore. What remained was clarity, complete, unwavering clarity about where I stood in her priorities and what I needed to do next. On Saturday, she tried yet another tactic. Instead of texting or calling, she tracked down every place she thought I might be. She stopped by my old gym. She checked the sports bar where I usually watch games. She even went to the bookstore where I had bought her birthday present last year. Around 2 in the afternoon, Dave's neighbor called. There is a woman sitting in a car outside your house. She has been there for about 3 hours. I looked out the window, and sure enough, her car was parked across the street. She was sitting still in the driver's seat, staring at the house, waiting for me to appear so she could corner me into a conversation. How long do you think she will stay? Dave asked. Until she realizes I am not coming outside, I said. And I was right. She stayed until nearly midnight. She would get out now and then, pacing around the block, then return to her car to keep watch. Her persistence was impressive, but it confirmed exactly what I already expected. She still believed this was about persuading me. She thought if she could just talk to me face to face, she could twist her way out of what she had said. She could not. Sunday morning, she sent a short message. I saw your car at Dave's. I know you were there. I waited all day yesterday. I will wait all day today if I have to. I responded with one word. Do not. It was the first message I had sent her since leaving that note on the counter. She called immediately. Thank God you answered, she said. We need to talk. No, I replied. We really do not. Yes, we do, she insisted. You cannot just throw away 6 years of marriage over one argument. This was not an argument, I said. Arguments happen between two people who are equals. This was you telling me exactly what you think of our marriage. I was wrong, she said quickly. I know I was wrong. Wrong about what? I asked. Wrong about what you said? Wrong about comparing me to him? So you did not mean it? I continued. There was a long silence. I meant it at the time, she said finally, but I was angry and... Stop, I said. You meant it at the time. That is all that matters. People say things they do not mean when they are upset, she tried. No, I said calmly. People say the things they normally keep buried. You have been thinking about your ex and comparing us. You have been keeping score, and I have been losing. That is not true, she whispered. Then why did you say it? Another pause, longer than the first. I do not know, she said eventually. You do know, I replied. You just do not want to admit it. She let out a shaky breath. Fine. Maybe I have thought about it sometimes. But that does not mean I do not love you. And there it was. The truth she had been avoiding. She had been comparing us. Often. And I had been coming up short in her private scoreboard. Thank you for being honest, I said. So, you will come home now? She asked. No, I said. Why not? I told you the truth. The truth is exactly why I am not coming back, I said. You claim you love me, but you do not appreciate me. You say you love me, but you think another man made you feel more valued than I ever did. You say you love me, but deep down, you wish I acted more like him. I never said that, she insisted. You did not have to, I said. It was implied in everything you said that night. She started crying then, really crying. I could hear every sob through the phone. I cannot lose you over this, she said. I cannot lose us. You already did, I replied. The moment you decided our marriage was worth less than your memories of someone else. But I chose you, she said through tears. I married you. No, I said quietly. You settled for me. After he was gone, you settled for whatever you could get. And for 6 years, I was grateful for that. But I am done feeling lucky to be the consolation prize. That is not how it was, she pleaded. Then tell me how it was, I said. Silence. Exactly. I hung up. Within an hour, I had 14 missed calls and a flood of messages, swinging wildly between begging, rage, bargains, promises, and apologies. I can change. I will never mention him again. We can go to counseling. I will do whatever you want. Please do not give up on us. I am sorry. I am so sorry. Finally, the apology I had been waiting to hear. But it arrived far too late. That apology, buried in a desperate late-night message, was too little, too late. A simple sorry does not erase the fact that your own spouse has been quietly comparing you to an ex for years. A sorry does not make you forget that you were measured, judged, and found lacking. That evening, Dave found me sitting on his back porch, holding a beer and staring out at nothing. Rough day, he asked. She finally admitted she has been comparing me to her ex. I said. Told me she thinks about it sometimes. Ouch. Yeah, but at least now I know I was not imagining it. All the times she seemed annoyed by my affection. All the times she checked out of our conversations. She was measuring me against some perfect little memory she refuses to let go of. So what now? Dave asked. Now, I said, I stopped pretending this marriage is something it never was. And I stopped letting her pretend too. On Monday morning, I called the lawyer and booked another appointment. It was time to stop reacting to her emotions and finally take action for myself. It was time to make everything official because I had finally understood something deeply important. You cannot make someone appreciate you. You cannot force someone to see value in what they already decided is not enough. And you can never win a competition against a memory of a man who no longer exists in the real world. But you can walk away from the game entirely. Tuesday morning, her sister called me again, this time screaming. She has not eaten in 3 days. She is not sleeping. You need to come home right now. No, I said calmly. She is falling apart because she realized what she lost. How can you be so heartless? Her sister snapped. She made one mistake. One mistake. I repeated. She has been comparing me to her ex for years. You do not accidentally say something like that. That is the truth finally spilling out. She realizes she was wrong, her sister insisted. Does she? Because when I asked her directly, she admitted she thinks about that comparison sometimes. That is not regret, that is getting caught. Her sister's voice cracked. Marriage is about forgiveness. This is not about forgiveness, I said. You cannot forgive someone for how they honestly feel inside. She showed me exactly where I rank next to her ex, and I am not going to spend the rest of my life trying to catch up. She needs you, she said quietly. She needs to learn that actions have consequences, I replied. On Wednesday evening, both her sister and her mother showed up at Dave's house. I opened the door a few inches. We need to talk, her mother said firmly. No, we really do not, I answered. She is my daughter, her mother said, and she is destroying herself over this. She destroyed our marriage the minute she compared it to her past relationship, I replied. I am just acknowledging what already happened. Her sister stepped forward. She has been crying for 2 weeks. She cannot eat. She cannot sleep. She cannot function. Maybe she should have thought about that before telling me her ex never made her feel unappreciated, I said. Her mother's expression hardened. You took vows. So did she, I said. Hard to cherish someone when they are secretly wishing you were someone else. She chose you, her mother insisted. She settled for me, I corrected. After her first choice walked away, she picked what was left. And for 6 years, I was grateful to be chosen at all. But I am done feeling lucky for scraps. Her mother tried one final question. What would it take to fix this? She would have to become a different person, I said. Someone who appreciates what she has instead of chasing what she does not. Someone who does not keep mental scorecards between the present and the past. People can change, her mother whispered. Can she erase the fact that she has been comparing me to her ex for years? Can she erase that, when she was frustrated, her instinct was to rank our marriage below her old one? Can she erase that I have been losing a contest I never signed up for? Neither of them said a word. That is what I thought, I said. Her sister tried one last desperate plea. She is going to keep falling apart until you come back. Then she will keep falling apart, I said. Because I am not coming back to be someone's second choice. I am not coming back to live in the shadow of an ex-boyfriend. On Thursday morning, I signed the divorce papers. On Friday afternoon, 2 full weeks after I walked out, I finally called her. She answered before the first ring even finished. Oh, thank God, she said breathlessly. Please come home. I am so sorry. I have been such an idiot. What I said was awful. I know that. But I love you. I choose you. I want to fix this. We can fix this. I let her talk. Let her pour out every apology, every promise, every frantic plea. When she finally stopped, I asked, Are you finished? Please, she begged. Just come home. We can work through this together. There is nothing left to work through, I said. You taught me something important about how you really see our marriage. And I am grateful for that lesson. What lesson? She asked. The lesson that I was never enough compared to your ex. That when you married me, I was the backup option after your first choice disappeared. That for 6 years I have been competing with a memory and losing. That is not true, she whispered. It is true, I said. And thank you, honestly, for finally admitting it. You saved me from wasting more years trying to become someone I am not. I was wrong, she said softly. I was angry, Rachel said through tears. I was stupid. I said something awful that I did not mean. Yes, you did, I told her. People do not accidentally compare their spouse to an ex and decide their spouse comes up short. That kind of comment comes from years of thinking it. I can change, she insisted. We can go to counseling. You cannot change how you truly feel about me, I said. You can learn to hide it better, sure. But you cannot change the part of you that still thinks someone else loved you better. Her voice cracked. Please do not do this. I need you. No, I said. What you need is to learn that you cannot tell your husband he does not measure up to your ex, and then expect him to stick around for round 2 of that comparison. But I love you, she cried. You love the idea of having a husband, I said. You love the comfort and the companionship. But you do not love me enough to appreciate me without stacking me against someone from your past. That is not fair, she said. What is not fair, I replied, is marrying someone while you are still emotionally attached to another man. What is not fair is making me compete with a ghost for 6 years without ever telling me I was even competing. She began sobbing. I will never mention him again. I will never think about him again. Too late, I said. You already told me where I stand. You already showed me that when our marriage gets hard, your instinct is to compare it to something you used to have and decide this is not good enough. So that is it, she asked between sobs. You are giving up on us. I am not giving up, I told her. I am accepting reality. The reality is that you never appreciated what you had until it was gone. The reality is that I deserve someone who chooses me first, not someone who settles for me because their first choice did not work out. I did choose you, she insisted. You chose what was available, I said. There is a difference. She sniffed hard. Tell me what to do. Tell me anything. I will do it. There is nothing you can do, I said. You cannot erase 6 years of silent comparisons. You cannot change the fact that now I know exactly where I rank in your mind. And you cannot make me forget that when you were hurt or frustrated, your response was to remind me that another man treated you better. Please, she whispered. Please do not do this. I love you. I have already filed for divorce, I said. You will be served next week. This call is just a courtesy, so you are not blindsided. You cannot just throw away everything we built, she begged. I am not throwing anything away, I said. I am finally acknowledging that what we built was not what I believed it was. I thought I married someone who chose me. Turns out I married someone who settled for me. I never settled, she protested. Yes, I said, you did. And now you get to experience what it feels like to lose the thing you settled for. I will not sign those papers, she snapped. You do not have to, I said. When the waiting period ends, the divorce will go through anyway. But I recommend you sign them. It will make this easier for both of us. This is not over, she said. Yes, I replied. It is. You wanted to feel appreciated. Now you can spend the rest of your life appreciating what you had, after you no longer have it. Then I hung up and blocked her number. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. I heard through mutual friends that she had moved back in with her parents, that she tried dating, but nothing stuck, that she told people she had made the biggest mistake of her life. But here is the thing, mistakes can be forgiven. What she did was not a mistake. It was honesty. It was the truth she had been sitting on for years. And once she said it out loud, there was no going back. For the first time in a long time, I was grateful she finally showed me how she really felt. And I never looked back. Bye.